Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to week 9 in my TS70 class. And it's kind of exciting. We are 2 weeks from being finished with a quarter. And so I just want to really encourage you to, if you're listening to this recording and you're busy and you're tired and you're thinking about quitting, don't quit. This is, we're coming around the last lap. We're literally head home stretch here. So really want to encourage you to finish, okay? Be a finisher and make the extra effort. I'll tell you two things. The most important two times of the quarter in any quarter academically are the start and the finish. Those are without a doubt the most important weeks. And generally, because if you start and understand what you're doing and get going well, you're much, much more likely to keep moving in the quarter. And then, of course, the finish, you got things like finals and everything else. So, okay, that's my little pep talk. I'm going to jump into here and we're going to talk about something called simple interest. Okay. And just as a general idea, let's say that you were going to buy a car and you're going to buy a car for, let's say it's a used car and you get it for like $6,000. But you have like a 4% interest rate that you're going to have to pay off over 5 years or something. That's where you're kind of going to figure out, okay, it's a $6,000 car, but if I'm paying 3% interest rate, how much am I actually going to have to pay total for that car with the interest rate that the car dealership is making? Okay. So that's the general life application. Let's look into the specifics of how the math works, okay? So simple interest, as you can see on the screen here, it's got a formula. It's kind of got a magic formula here. And that formula is that if I'm trying to calculate simple interest, I do principal times rate times time, okay? Um, those are the three things. So principal times rate times time. So you can copy those down. Let me explain what they are. Okay, this is the amount of money that the principal is like the amount of money you put down. Okay, um, so if I pay $1,000 or $6,000 or whatever, that I'm having to pay for something. So that's kind of like the amount of money. The rate is the percentage rate. Okay. At what percent interest do they get? Okay. And then the time is time, how long for how long. Okay. So principal, the amount of money that we're paying, the rate is the percentage that they get on top of the loan, if it's a car loan, and then the amount of time. Now, got a little pink note here that says a note about time. Pay real close attention to this, and it'll set you up for being successful with a lot of the word problems, okay? Um, so generally, the time unit is 1 year, okay? So that's generally how we talk about it, is in terms of a year. So if it was a 3-year loan up here in this one, this example, red example, it'd be 100 times 0.05 is 5% times 3-year loan, okay? Um, but here's the word about time, a note about time. Sometimes time they'll give you, and it's for 9 months, for instance. Well, what do you do with 9 months? That's less than a year. Okay. So I've got a couple of notes down here for you to kind of, just to write down, just to remember this. Okay. That 360 days is what makes up a year. Okay. Now you're probably thinking, hey, teacher, no, it's not. It's 365 days. All right. You're right, technically, but it's they call a banker's year, okay? And I know that's kind of a new idea, but the banker year, they express it as 360 days. Okay, it seems kind of odd, but just so you know, okay, I don't think I forgot the 5 days. So for instance, if it was a 90-day loan, okay, if it was for 90 days, $100 times 0.05, I would take that 90, see, that's less than a year. It's okay, it's actually 3 months. And I could express it as 90, a fraction of 90 days over 360 days. Okay. 90 out of 360. This 360 is one whole year. So by turning it into a fraction of days, you have days and days here, then I can plug it into my formula. So for instance, if you look over here to the right here, I got $100 down on that's my principal times, it says 5%, which is 0.05 as a decimal. And then my time is if I reduce 90 over 360, if I take the zeros out of this and just cross them out, okay, I have 9 over 36, okay. Which actually reduces down to 1/4, which is 0.25, just so you know, because 9 goes into 36 4 times. So it could reduce even more if you're kind of thinking ahead of me. But anyway, that's what we're going to do. We're going to convert days into days over 360. Since a year is 12 months here, okay, I've got 12 months expressed in 1 year. If they give a loan for 9 months, I can call that 9 over 12. Okay, it's 9/12 of a year, which also 3 goes into 9 3 times and it goes into 12 4. So it's really 0.75. You could multiply it by 0.75 and it would work. Okay. And then of course a year, that's the normal expression of time. But what if you had 2.5 years? Then it would be $100 times 0.05 times 2.5. Okay. So that's my little note about time, just to kind of get that down in your notes, that if they give you less than a year, what do they give you? Months? Okay, then express it as that many months over 12. Do they give you days? Express it as that many days over 360, not 365. Okay. All right. With that in mind, let's have some fun here. Let's take a look at some of these. All right. Um, so if you were looking at an interest rate on a $100, okay, on $100, okay, at 6% for, if I move myself out of the way here, come on, for 2 years, it would be, okay, $100, that's the principal. I'm gonna just write a P here, times the rate, this is the R, the rate, 0.06, which is 6%, times the time, okay, and this is the time, okay, I have 2 years. So 100 times 0.06 gives me $6, times 2 is $12. So it would be $12. Okay, that is the additional charge, let's say, on that loan. So if I had a $100 loan, I'm going to pay $112. Okay. If we're looking at the interest rate on a $100 loan at 6% for 1.5 years, it would be $100. Here's my principal times my rate, 6%. This is my 0.06, okay, times my years. In this case, it's 1.5 years, which would be just 1.5. And this is my time, okay? All right. All right, kind of went through that a little bit quickly, but hopefully you had time to kind of digest that. Principal times rate times time, okay, gives me our simple interest. Let's practice some and see if you guys can kind of catch on to this. Find the simple interest, okay, and that's what we're calculating with something called the simple interest, okay, and there are more complicated types of interest, thus the name simple interest. This is the most common kind of interest that you deal with, car loans, house loans, and other things. But just be aware of, well, how come they're calling it simple? You know, it seems complicated to me. Well, believe it or not, there are some other more complicated types of interest. But for each of the problems based upon the principal times rate times time, PRT, okay, round to the nearest cent. I'm going to model for you, so it's to round to the nearest cent. So I'm going to I'm going to circle this. Cent would be cent, like 25 cents, okay? Just to remind myself, hey, don't forget to do that, all right? $100 at 6% for 1 year. This is just going to be real simple. 100 is my principal times 0.06 times 1. And I can punch that in my calculator straight across, and that will give me the answer. And then be sure and round it to the nearest cent. By the way, let me give you just kind of an example, okay, of rounding here, okay? Because I want to just put this in your notes so you can add this here. Let's say I got an answer of, let's say the answer was 12.367, okay? If that was the answer of my calculator that I got on my calculator, and it says to round to the nearest cent, can you see which digit is in the last cent place? this 6 is. Like 36 cents, right? It's in the hundredth place. The next digit is 5 or more, so it would be 12.37. So $12.37 if I kind of added my dollar sign in front of it, okay? So that is how we would round. I'll draw an arrow here to the nearest cent, just so you know, okay? All right, we got $250 a loan for at a 9% interest rate for 1 year. That's just 250 times 0.09. Oh, and by the way, a little important reminder, do the math in order of P times R and then times T, okay? From left to right, you know, the order of operations. Don't get them out of order. Oh, they're just all, you know, whatever. I'll just punch them all in. Follow them just in order, okay? Just to make sure you're simplifying and you're really getting everything correctly. Times 1, and there's my answer, okay? So one or two more here. All right, let's just do one more. 550 at 12% interest for 1 year. That one's pretty easy. 550, okay. You got that, times 12% is 0.12, right? We moved it 2 places, times 1, okay. $1,500 at 7% for 4 months. Oh, this is that time issue right here, okay? See, this is why I gave you the warning on the previous slide. So I'm going to do my $1,500. I'm going to punch that into my calculator, and then I'm going to say times 0.07 is 7%, times, okay, I have 4 months. Okay, think about 4 months. That's really 4 over 12. Okay, you could do it like that. Now, what you might do to simplify, if you're thinking about 4 over 12, I'll draw a little arrow here. 4 goes into itself once, goes into 12 3 times. That's 1/3, okay, which is really 0.33 if you wanted to know. 1/3 is 0.33. But you could just use your calculator and go times and then press on the little fraction symbol and then do 1/3, or 4/12 would work as well, just so you know. But some people like to kind of simplify and speed it up in their mind. At least it helps them speed it up. $4,460 at 4% interest for 7 months. Okay, here's what I'm going to do to speed this up a little bit for y'all. I am going to just talk about the time here because you guys can figure out that, you know, it's 4460 times 14, so 1.14 times 7 months. I could do 7 over 12, okay, just like that. 7,500, 8% interest, 11 months. 7500. I think you guys are getting this by now. I think times 0.08 times 11 months, 11 over 12. Okay. All right, I'm going to do the one at the bottom. $990. There's my principal. Okay. Times, it says 7.3%. So I'm going to move that decimal point 1, 2 places. So it'd be 0.073. Okay. If I moved it 2 places, it's 7.3. So I got to move it 2 places as a decimal. Times 275 days, that would be 275 on my calculator over 360, not 365. Okay. All right, jumping ahead here. Simple interest. Find the simple interest Henry Jacob owes. Okay, notice that he's owing this. Okay, this is like a loan. That's why we're talking about interest rates here. On a 2-year loan, student loan of $8,000. This is my P. This is my T at 9%, and this is my rate. Okay, principal rate times. So I'm going to write this as principal times rate times time. All right, so principal 8,000 times, what was the rate? 9%, 0.09 times 2 years, it's just going to be 2. Okay, real simple. 2 years, that's just 2. Peggy Rostrom owes on a 2.5-year loan for $1,500 at an annual interest. This is the rate, this is the time, and this is the principal. Okay, $1,500 times the rate, 7.5% would be 0.073. 0.075. And if you're asking, how did I get that out of that? I moved it 2 places, 0.075 times 2.5 years. I could just do 2.5, okay? And that would be real sweet. Get her done. Let's move on. Now we're going to kind of move into something a little bit different, where we're kind of talking about, we're like, if they give you two of them, and then they ask for the third, I'm going to kind of show you how this works if they don't just ask you for the total or something. So an auto parts dealer borrowed $150,000 for 1 year. Here's the principal, there's the time. If the total amount he must pay back is 164,250. What interest rate does his loan have? Do you see that? They're not asking for the total. They're asking what was the rate. Okay. See, it's a little bit different. So you probably really want to copy these, at least one of these story problems with the math, principal, rate, time. Okay. Now, in order to get that, okay, we have the initial loan was 150,000. The total that had to be paid, okay, was 164,250. Okay. What is the interest rate? So first thing we're going to do here is we're going to take the ending value minus the starting value, okay, and we're going to get and there's actually a formula, okay? If you want to know the percent change, which you'll get into in your next quarter, um, what is the percent that something changed from one to start to finish? Formula is you take the ending value, that's kind of the formula, okay, minus the starting value, and then you divide that by the starting value. Okay, notice I had kept start over you divide that answer. Okay, so in this case, here's the ending amount, 164,250 minus the starting amount. Okay, and we get 14,250. Okay, that's the difference. Now, if we divide the starting value, notice this little start here. Okay, I'm going to circle this and draw an arrow here. Okay, if we divide the starting value into that gives me our percent change. Okay, the percentage. On our calculator, if I punched in these numbers, I would get 0.095. Move your decimal point 2 places, uno, dos, okay, and you get 9. The interest rate was 9.5%. Okay, I know that was a jump. Okay, some of you are going, wait a minute, we were just doing P times rate times time, and all of a sudden we got to that. Okay, so that's why I wanted to show you how to do that. Notice they're not asking you just for the total. They're asking, hey, what was the rate? Okay. Let's look at another example. A corporate executive took out a $25,000 loan for 1 year. Okay. At the end of the year, he must pay back this amount right here, 27,000. So they're giving you the answer, principal times rate times time. They're giving you the answer of the total you had to pay back, right? See how this is a little different? What is his interest rate? So they want to know the rate again, just like they did up here. They wanted to know the interest rate. Okay. So we're going to plug in our little formula, okay, the ending value, okay, and you should definitely write this in your notes, minus the starting value, okay. This is our formula for percent change, okay, and then you divide that by your starting value, okay. I'm going to put value here just to kind of help you, okay, remember what we're talking about. End value. Sorry, this is squeezed over here. Okay. All right. So ending value minus the starting value over the starting value. So if we take the ending value, which was 227,050 minus the starting value, 25,000, I get 2,050. I take that answer and divide it by the starting value, which is this right here. Okay. This is my starting value right here. I'll put start next to it. See if that helps. And I get a percent. Okay. That gives me a percent. 0.082 is what your calculator is going to say. Move it 2 places and you get 8.2%. That's the interest rate. Okay. So there's a couple of examples. Okay. Commission. Okay. Commission, in case that's a new word for you, in sales. Say a car salesperson is, this is part of why they're so determined to sell you a car, because they oftentimes get paid on what's called commission. Okay. So, which means they get, on a 20, let's say it's that $6,000 car, let's say they get 3% of that. So that's how they get paid. So the more cars they sell to various customers, each at 3%, that's what they get paid, the more money they make. Okay. So that's why when you walk into a used car lot or even a dealership, there's all these people standing out there waiting, and they just like very casually come up to you really quickly. And I say casually because they're trying to look like, oh, I just happened to bump into you. But in reality, they're scanning the horizon to see if people like me driving into their lot start walking up. All right. So a real estate agent receives a 3% commission. So they're giving us, okay, they're giving us the rate right here. Okay. Okay. So they must be asking us for something different in this case. For selling a house, find the commission that the agent earned for selling the house. Oh, in this case, they just want to know what 3% is of a $131,000 house. By the way, that's a fairly inexpensive house. Okay, I'm just thinking about Snohomish County. Um, they just want to know what 3% is of, and of is times. Okay, 3% of this. So I would do 0.03. Okay, times the cost of the house, 131,000. Okay. That's 3% times that would give me the commission. It would give me how much he would make. Okay. Um, so, all right. And that's going to be the commission. So I'm going to draw an arrow right to there. Okay. To commission. This is what they want to know, how much he's going to make. A stockbroker receives a commission. Okay. Of 1.5% of the price of stock that is bought or sold. Okay, so for whatever amount of stock is sold, bought or sold, this person, this woman gets 1.5% of it. Okay. Find the commission that she will make on 100 shares, okay, that were bought for $5,600. All right. Now, this is getting a little bit confusing because you're like, oh, hey, teacher, you got new language here. Shares. What are we talking about? So, um, think of it like she's buying 100 of a certain item, like 100. I don't know. We'll call them iPhones. Okay, 100 of these iPhones, and each one is for $5,600. Okay, so she is. um, she's selling, okay, 100 shares, and each share is that were bought for 5,600. That's each one, okay. Each, I'm going to write this. You can add this to your notes if this helps. Each equals 5,600. Okay, that kind of clarifies the language, the English in that sentence for you. Okay, so what I would do is I would take my, I'm going to take, this is how I do it. I do my $5,600 times 100, which by the way is going to give me a monster number, okay, which is going to be 5,600 plus two zeros, okay, which is 560,000. Okay, that's $560,000 of sales, but she makes 1.5% of that amount there. So I would take that $560,000. That's how much she sold. 100 shares for 5,600 each times 0.015 equals, that's going to be her commission. Okay. All right. Now, in case you're wondering, again, teacher, where did you get 0.015? It's 1.5%. I'm going to move it two places, 0.015. Okay. All right. Moving on. A couple more examples. Mary receives a commission of $8.05 on a sale of $230. What was her commission rate? Notice they're not asking for the commission. They want to know the percent. Okay. The rate. Okay. Well, if we take the amount of money that she made and divide it by the total of the sale, okay, the amount of money that she made and divide it by the total, that will give us the rate, equals the rate for this problem. Now, again, this is a bit of a shift. We're asking for something different. What's the commission rate? They want to know what was the interest rate. Well, we take the amount of money she made again, divide it by the total amount of the sale, and that gives us the percent. Okay. Let's see. Oh, I'll give you an example. If you got 12 problems right out of 15, okay, 15 right on a test, okay, and you want to know what percent is that, okay, what is that percent? And what is 12 out of 15? You would divide 12 by 15, get a decimal point, move it 2 places, and that gives you your percentage, okay? When I first started out as a teacher and I didn't have software systems to like add everything up grades wise, I had to literally punch in a calculator all the points the student had earned for the quarter divided by the total possible points for the whole quarter, and that gave me a percent, which then translated to the grade. So if it was 80%, it would be a B minus. Okay, the first year I taught, that's what I did. I had to do it real carefully and make sure I got it all right. Discounts, Everett Community College Bookstore. By the way, I was watching a video on YouTube, and I noticed that every community college has these ads that are popping up. Kind of cool for the college. So campus looks really nice, by the way. They're remodeling and tearing down buildings and building new ones. And so the Everett Community College Bookstore is giving a discount of $8 on calculators that normally sell for $24. Okay. So what is the discount? They want to know the rate. They want to know the percent. So if this helps to go, okay, rate is percent. 8 divided by 24 equals the percent. Okay, that's how I would do that. Okay, same as the last problem. An outdoor supply store has its regularly priced $160 sleeping bags. Okay, on sale for $120. What is the discount rate? Okay, all right. So $160 sleeping bag. If I subtract my sale price, I get $40. That's how much this thing is off. Okay, and if I want to know what the rate is, if I take my 40, remember the ending value, and I know this is kind of backwards here, but it would be like a negative number if I did starting value. Well, no, it's the ending value minus the starting values. The end. Remember I taught you this like 10 minutes ago. Minus the start, dividing by the start. Okay, take that answer and divide it by the start. I could have done it. I would have gotten like negative 40 if I did. If I took my end, which was my 120, right? 120. That's my ending value. Sorry. Minus my 160. Okay, equals a negative 40. Okay. And if I divide that by my starting value, which is 160, okay, it takes me over here. That gives me my rate, okay? That'll give me my percentage rate, okay? So I wanted to point that out because I kind of reversed it here just so I wouldn't have a negative number. But I got the difference, basically. The difference is what you were looking for. All right, we're almost done. Okay, I think this is about the last slide here. A $26.99 CD player has a sales tax of 7%. Added to the purchase price, what is the final cost? Okay, so all they're really asking for here is, what is 7% of this $26.99 CD player, and then have to add that to that price to get my total, the final cost. See here, final cost, that's what they're asking for. Here's the question mark. So that's the sentence with it, with that. Uh-oh, I pressed something on my little pen here and it's going crazy. Let me try the old unplug. 1, 2, 3, replug in. And see if that helps. All right. Okay. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Oh, that's interesting. Sorry, folks. Yeah, I'm back, I think. All right, so if I take my price times the 7%, I get this amount of money, okay? And if they want to know the final cost, I have to add the $26.99 plus the $1.89, and I get a final cost of this amount of money, okay? However, I'm going to show you, notice how that was 3 steps. Step one is to multiply the percentage times the original cost, get an answer, and then step 2 is to add it, okay, to the original cost. We covered this, I think, a few weeks ago. What is 7%? If 100%, if I had $26.99 times 100%, that's just like times 1, right? Same amount. But I got 7% more. I could do it like this in one step. 1.07. Now, where'd that come from? 7% added to 100% is 0.07. That would get me the answer in one step. Okay, I'm going to just put down one step answer. All right, just so you know. So there's 2 ways to do it. Most people do it this way right here. That's just the way our brains work, and that's how they would do that. Yep, I was right. That was our last slide. Okay, folks. So what we covered tonight was calculating simple interest, and I told you, look, here's our rule: principal, which is the amount of money down, or that you're paying for something, times the rate, which is the percentage, times the amount of time. That'll give you simple interest. We also did talk about, and I squeezed it in here somewhere, calculating percent change, okay? Like the percent that something changed, and which gives me our interest rate, the rate. If you take the ending value minus the starting value, get an answer in your calculator, and then divide that answer by the starting value, that will give you a decimal, turn it into a percent, and that's how you calculate percent change. Ending value minus the starting value divided by the original starting value. Okay, so we talked about that, and we also introduced the idea of commission. The commission is how much money somebody makes if they make like 5% of something. 5% of means times, so 0.05. Okay, I hope that was helpful. Have a fantastic week. I hope you guys enjoyed your long weekend, Memorial Day weekend, and stay with me. Next week is week 10. There is a WALMAP exam 3, and then the final week is just the final exam. So next week is our last Zoom, and I look forward to seeing you guys there and sharing the last few concepts with you.